In the winter of 1936, the British government faced a massive crisis that threatened the very foundation of the royal family. King Edward VIII had been on the throne for only a few months when he fell deeply in love with an American woman named Wallis Simpson. He wanted to marry her, but there was a major problem that the leaders of the time could not ignore. Wallis had been married twice before, and both of her ex-husbands were still alive. At that time, the strict rules of the Church of England and the government did not allow a king to marry a divorced person whose former spouses were still living. Edward was told in no uncertain terms that he could either be the King of England or he could be the husband of the woman he loved, but he could not be both. The Prime Minister at the time made it clear that the people of the British Empire would never accept Wallis Simpson as their queen. Edward tried to suggest a middle ground where he would remain king, but Wallis would not receive a royal title. However, the government rejected this proposal completely, leaving the king with no room to negotiate. Behind the scenes, officials worried about Edward's personality and his controversial political views. With the threat of World War II growing in Europe, they feared he was too unstable to lead. Unlike his father, who was known for being traditional and cautious, Edward often ignored royal protocol and was seen as a wild card who lacked the discipline required for the throne. Most alarming to the British intelligence services were his suspected sympathies toward the German government. There were whispers that his private conversations contained information that could be used against the interests of the empire. They believed his obsession with Wallis made him easy to manipulate during this dangerous time. Despite this intense pressure, Edward refused to give up. To him, Wallis was his entire world, and he could not face ruling without her. On December 11, 1936, Edward VIII did something no British monarch had ever done before. He gave up his throne voluntarily. In a famous radio speech, he explained that he found it impossible to carry the heavy burden of responsibility as king without the help and support of the woman he loved. The next day, he stepped down and passed the crown to his younger brother, King George VI. Edward was given the title Duke of Windsor and sent into a life of exile in France. His choice changed the line of succession forever, eventually putting his niece, Elizabeth II, on the throne. In the winter of 1936, the British government faced a massive crisis that threatened the very foundation of the royal family. King Edward VIII had been on the throne for only a few months when he fell deeply in love with an American woman named Wallis Simpson. He wanted to marry her, but there was a major problem that the leaders of the time could not ignore. Wallis had been married twice before, and both of her ex-husbands were still alive.